Good morning, everyone. My name is Joven, and I will be introducing to you the PEDRO Center. PEDRO is an acronym which stands for the Philippine Earth Data Resource and Observation Center. It was implemented in 2015 with the aim to establish a ground receiving station that enables a broad range of access to optical and radar data. Since the establishment in 2016, it supported the operation of our very own Diwata microsatellite. It was established as a country's ground receiving station for communicating to space assets as a medium to get all the space-borne information like imagery in order to process and extract the essential information on it and to distribute it to our stakeholders. Currently, we have two ground receiving stations established by the PEDRO Center. One is in Quezon City, located at the DOST-ASTI in UP Diliman, and the second one is located in Davao, near the Davao City Airport. In the next slide shows the ASTI ground receiving station here in Quezon City. Image on the left is the ground receiving antenna, which used to track the satellite when it passes over the ground station. Image on the right is the ground station control room, where we used to control the satellite and send instruction and to download all the necessary data from space. Here is the time-lapse construction of what the Davao GRS looks like. We install a radome structure in order to protect the antenna from extreme weather, especially from typhoon winds. We also have GRS soon to be operational in Dumangas, Iloilo. But this GRS is part of the project of JICA called ULAT project. In space technology, there are three important segments: space, the ground, and the application. The space segment deals with the spacecraft or the satellite which is orbiting around the Earth that is gathering information to the ground. The ground operations segment is the middleman in between space and application. It operates to send commands to the satellite and download the data, and the ground receiving station forwarded those downloaded data to the application segment. So the application segment mostly composed of the remote sensing team who usually process the raw information from the satellite. On the next slide shows the variety of the space and commercial subscribed assets that we have. Two of them is our very own Diwata satellites. But the Diwata one is already decommissioned, but still we have the Diwata 2 in operation. ComSat satellite is from Korea, and the rest is from US except the Novusar from UK. Now, why we are still subscribing to commercial satellites when we have our own? Answer is satellite passes is limited to access in around 10 minutes. So limitation of the satellite passes. So we need the other satellites to acquire, and stakeholders also have a different requirements according to application in terms of optical image resolution, spectral bands, and etc. And also subscribing to commercial satellites will increase the access to spaceborne data. The day-to-day operation takes place when we receive requests from our stakeholders. Sometimes, we use to anticipate these requests, and kapag may bagyo, usually, the mission planning team anticipates the passes of the satellite. So the mission planning team plan ahead of time where the satellite will pass and what are the prospective targets. Now, the ground operation team, which I belong, implemented that plan. We send this instruction and commands to satellite in order to capture the target. And download those information on the next passes, and make it sure that it will forwarded to the remote sensing team in order to process the data into more refined information before it goes to our stakeholders. In summary, for the operation, there are four important stages: the planning, which we need to plan ahead of time, the satellite schedule or passes, the upload or sending the instructions to the satellite, what the satellite will do in orbit for the next succeeding days. One of it is capture or implementations of the commands. And lastly, the download, which we gather all the information from the satellite and process here on the ground into more essential or to extract that information from that raw data and distribute to government agencies and stakeholders. Now, we will go to the satellite image application. Some of the application of satellite image lies on disaster risk management, environmental monitoring, and defense and security. This is one of the example product of the PEDRO Center. After the landfall of Typhoon Falcon last July 17, 2019, the image on the left is captured by a ComSat-5. By the way, ComSat-5 is SAR satellite. So it's not a camera, but it's a radar. So radars, SAR satellite penetrates through the clouds regardless of the weather condition and cloud cover. So this is an example of a post-typhoon image from a ComSat 5. And then image on the right is a processed one, which compares the pre and post disaster, which extract the informations of the extent of floods. So these flood maps are delivered immediately to disaster mitigation and preparedness agency to supply information they need to provide proper support on affected areas, such as halimbawa, ano yung mga lugar na still passable for search and rescue and relief operation. So the next slide is the same application. So still a flood maps, but different event. So kanina, in Typhoon Falcon is July 2019. This is Typhoon Eneng, which happens on the next month, August 2019. So we do also the post and the pre and post disaster process of the satellite image. Mayon volcano eruption in 2018 and Taal volcano in 2020. So the images are captured by ComSat 3A satellite. So on this image, April 5, 2019, ComSat 3A captured the Taal volcano. So during the eruption on January 16, 2020, we also tasked the satellite to capture the same spot, and we see the comparison. So before, there has a vegetation area. Kung titingnan ninyo yung image on the right, puno na siya ng ash fall. So it shows the possible destruction of the vegetation and draining of water in the main crater of Taal. Another application is the environmental monitoring. So this image processed by the DATO's help desk. So where by the Department of Budget and the management, digital information for monitoring and evaluation of Project DIME. So technically, the Project DIME is aims to augment the management arm of the DBM to leverage the use of modern technology like satellites, drones, and geotagging in monitoring the status, progress, activities of a big ticket government project. So here is the image of Boracay processed by the DATOS team in 2013, you can see the percentage of vegetation area is 56.78. During 2017, so it reduced to 35.27. So kung gagawin mo yung work na to on the ground without the use of the satellite, it takes you months or even years to identify the percentage of the built-up area and the vegetation. But using the space technology, you can be able to see in a bird's eye view perspective the detailed or information in the ground. So mas mapapabilis yung pag-process natin or pag-extract ng informations para lang malaman natin kung ano yung update ng isang specific area in terms of vegetation. Another, from the project DIME, it is the farm to market road. So this is an example of a series of image capture by the satellite. So from May 26, July 7, and August 12. So the example of this is like when the contractor said that the project accomplished is, let's say, 75%. Now, what is the evidence that it is 75% accomplished? So kung mahirap puntahan yung lugar, mahirap siyang i-evaluate. But using satellite image, from your own eye, you can see or evaluate that there is a progress. So at least, hindi mo na kailangan pumunta doon sa lugar just to take a look or bumiyahe ka ng kilo-kilometro para lang malaman mo na okay, that there is an update or there is a big progress along the way. So ito yung months. So May, June, July, and then August. So this PEDRO Center capture a series of images just to monitor government big ticket project, including this one in New Clark City. So through COMSAT 3A, the PEDRO Center was able to take satellite images over New Clark City. It's from December 2018 to July 2019 to monitor the construction of a New Clark City sports complex. So during pandemic, we monitor and compare the changes in the traffic density in the Metro Manila. So image on the left is the ECQ, dated March 18, 2020. So during that time, kung titingnan nyo yung mga roads, halos wala na sasakyan. But when we go to GCQ, dated 4th of June 2020, nagsimula na mag-build up yung traffic. So, so difference from quarantine protocol indicates na from GCQ is nagkaroon na ng movement yung mga tao. So also, airport, we monitor the airport. So kung titingnan nyo yung GCQ time, walang nasa runway. So most of the planes are nakapark lang sa gilid. But nung nag-GCQ na, so may makita ka ng mga aeroplano na on the runway. So na-allowed na yung pag-travel. So na-restrict na, na-lift out na yung air flights during that time. For defense and security, so the Novostar satellite, which is also a synthetic aperture radar satellite, captures this image in misty free. So it processed through an simple RGB. So it indicates the color of green and red, which means the satellite detected some structure changes on the misty free. It is made possible through the SAR and with AIS project of the DOST-ASTI. Another defense and security application is we use the various satellites to subscribe so that the researchers could also monitor the ships in our base. And through, again, the DATU's help desk, this optical and SAR images shows ships in Manila Bay. I think the DATU's team will have their representative to more detailed information on how to process the image and extract the information from the raw. So PEDRO Center milestone. So after the establishment of the PEDRO Center here in Quezon City, we capped the antenna. Yung nakita nyo kanina sa first slide na bare lang siya na antenna parabolic dish. In 2018, we cap it with a radome to protect the antenna from extreme weather, same as in Davao. So it was launched on the same year, yung PEDRO portal. So itong nakikita nyo sa cursor ko, image on the left below. So it is a portal which yung mga image na nakaka-capture ni satellite is pwedeng ma-access dito, yung mga archive. So in November 2019, second GRS, which is in Davao, was inaugurated. So, and it established as an auxiliary antenna to provide redundancy and ensure continuous operation in case ASTI GRS cannot operate. Milestone. So as of 2021, PEDRO Center has catered 49 government agencies and academic institutions in 153 different images requests. Some of these request images is multiple. So, narito yung mga stakeholders na mostly nakikinabang ng mga image na at nagre-request sa PEDRO Center. So, PEDRO also signed end user license agreement or EULA to its stakeholders. Since 2019, there's a total of 64 EULAs were signed by the PEDRO Center with 38 for satellite images services and 26 for GIS training. So the roadmap, the PEDRO Center will continue to operate under the DOST-ASTI until it is fully transitioned to the Philippine Space Agency. Now, the construction for the Iloilo GRS, yung nakita nyo kanina, is still ongoing. The renovation for the ground station control and survey room will continue when the travel restrictions is lifted. At pwede na kami mag-travel, so we can continue to set up yung ground station sa Iloilo. So the 3.5 meter satellite tracking antenna was made possible through the collaboration. So this one, yung nakita nyo sa image below, through the DOST-ASTI's ULAT project. ULAT means Understanding Lightning and Thunderstorm Project, and the Japan International Cooperation Agency, or JICA, and the Science and Technology Research Partnership for Sustainable Development Program. And that ends my presentation. Thank you.